As anticipated, in this lesson we will discuss scenarios in which miners could potentially misbehave. One such threat could be a miner who decides not to follow the rules for block rewards and tries to grab more coins in the Coinbase transaction. According to the protocol, block rewards were 50 Bitcoin initially, with the issuing schedule halving every 4 years. So currently it is 12.5 Bitcoin after it has halved twice since the launch of Bitcoin. Suppose a miner decides to try and reward himself or herself with 1,000 Bitcoin for mining a block rather than 12.5 as per the protocol. How could a miner do that? Remember that miners construct new blocks. When they do so, the first transaction they include in a candidate block is the Coinbase transaction, which sends them newly generated coins for the block reward. This Coinbase transaction, of course, will be valid only if the entire block is valid. Even if such a greedy node successfully does the proof of work and comes up first with a solution to the cryptographic puzzle, the block will be rejected by the other nodes on the network. They will immediately spot the irregularity in the Coinbase transaction and will not accept this as a valid block. You may wonder how they do this. How do the other nodes accept or reject a new candidate block? First, they check if all the criteria for valid blocks are met in accordance with the protocol. These include properly verified and recorded transactions, link to previous block's hash, correct block reward, timestamp, and proof of work, among others. Now imagine that all these checks are correct, but there are several candidate blocks to be included in the blockchain at the same time. A candidate block would be confirmed as valid when it is included in the blockchain. And how does that happen? A block is confirmed as a part of the blockchain when miners start building new blocks on top of it. Remember that a hash of the previous block, known as parent block, is one of the components of the new block's header. This hash is the link to the previous block in the chain, and each block that follows has this parent block link. This is how the blockchain is formed. When miners need to choose the parent for their new block among several candidate blocks, they choose to extend the longest chain. That is, they choose to mine on top of the block that is part of the longest existing chain, with the largest amount of cumulative work done. As usual, by work we mean proof of work calculations. Why do they choose which chain to validate in this way? Because the most accumulated proof of work clearly points to the main chain, which starts with the very first Bitcoin transaction and the first block ever created, the Genesis block. By selecting the parent block, miners effectively vote with their mining power on the state of the blockchain. In this way, the original main valid chain is always extended and more cumulative proof of work is added to it. Miners do this while pursuing their own economic interest to earn block rewards. Remember, miners get rewarded only if they mine valid blocks. The incentive structure aligns individual miners' interests and best course of action with those of the network as a whole. This is game theory at work. Each block mined on top of a new block will count as one confirmation of this block and all transactions in it. The more blocks built on top of a given block, the more confirmations this block has, and therefore the more secure and immutable all transactions in it are. Block reward coins received by miners become spendable after 100 block confirmations. This is further protection embedded in the system to secure miners' integrity and to mitigate any risks of manipulation attempts by miners, such as changing the consensus rules or double spending. In our next lesson, we'll discuss a hypothetical scenario where a miner tries to create a double-spent transaction and what would happen in that case. Thanks for watching.